Everyone talks about Web3 as the future, but let's be honest. Right now, it's kind of a mess of disconnected digital islands. Today, we're diving into a protocol called Enso that's making a really bold claim to be the universal translator for this fragmented world. So, is it all hype, or can it actually deliver? Let's get into it.
So this slide right here, it just nails the problem perfectly. Trying to build in Web3 today is exactly like trying to create a global railway system where every single country uses a different size track. And for a developer, this isn't just a headache, it's a total nightmare. Every new connection has to be custom built, which is expensive and takes forever. It's the real reason your favorite apps don't just work seamlessly across every single chain yet.
Right, so this is the heart of the problem we're talking about, the explosive growth of all these different blockchains. I mean, it's been incredible for innovation, for sure, but it's also created these isolated digital islands. Each one has its own rules, its own language, its own unique assets. Each one is its own little kingdom, and getting them to talk to each other? Well, that's a huge technical mess.
Now, there's a fancy term for this in the industry, cross-chain development. And it's really about the monumental task of getting all these unique systems to just play nice together. Developers are stuck wrestling with totally different code bases, token standards, and security models. And look, this isn't just some nerdy technical issue. This is the reason Web3 hasn't had its iPhone moment yet. That point where everything just works, simply and powerfully for everyone.
Okay, so how on earth do you fix something like this? This is where Enso steps into the frame. Instead of just building more and more complicated bridges, it's proposing a totally new approach, an intent layer. Just imagine, it's like a universal translator that sits on top of all these different blockchains, creating one single unified language for developers to use.
And this is the big idea. Enso wants to totally shift how we think about development. Instead of telling the computer how to do something, step by painstaking step, you just tell it what you want to achieve. A developer can state their goal, their intent, and the protocol handles all the messy, complicated execution details in the background. Basically, you're telling the system where you want to go, not giving it 100 little turn-by-turn directions.
Wow, okay, this slide really puts it into perspective. On the left, you've got the old way, a total slog. 6 different steps, connecting wallets, approving tokens, bridging, swapping, ugh. But then on the right, you see the Enso way. The developer just writes one simple, human-readable command, and the network does all that other stuff automatically. This isn't just a small improvement. This is a massive potential game changer for anyone building in the space.
All right, I know what you're thinking. That sounds amazing in theory, but how does it actually work? How does Enso turn a simple sentence into a secure transaction that hops across multiple blockchains? Let's take a look under the hood.
Well, it basically comes down to these 4 steps. First, a developer states what they want. Simple enough. Then, Enso's protocol translates that into a logical, step-by-step plan. After that, it uses these cool, reusable modules called shortcuts to find the cheapest and fastest way to get it done. And here's the really important part. A network of validators simulates the entire thing to make sure it's safe before a single asset actually moves. So let's just quickly recap the tech here. You've got the intent-based system that makes developers' lives way easier. You've got the shortcuts that make things efficient, and you have the validator network to keep everything secure. But the real kicker? The multi-chain support. It's built to work with EVM chains like Ethereum, SVM chains like Solana, and even the newer MVM chains. That means it's designed from the ground up to connect the biggest ecosystems in Web3.
Okay, enough of the tech deep dive. Let's talk about what happened when Enso actually launched and hit the market. Because its launch story, well, it's a perfect example of the crazy clash between huge expectations and the harsh reality of crypto markets.
So Enso came out of the gates strong. They raised $5 million in a community round back in June of 2025, which showed a ton of grassroots support. By October, the mainnet was live, the token was out there, and that momentum carried them right onto some of the biggest exchanges in the world, like Binance. That's instant global visibility. And it wasn't just the community getting hyped. Enso also got funding from some huge names in venture capital. We're talking Polychain, Multicoin. In the crypto world, that's a massive stamp of approval. It's a signal to the market that the smart money, the people who do this for a living, believe the project has a real chance to win. But then, this happened. On launch day, even with all the hype, all the smart money, the token's price just fell off a cliff. It dropped by over 50%. It was just a brutal, gut-punch reminder of how insanely volatile this space can be, where even a project with all the right ingredients can get hammered by the market.
But, and this is a really big but, price isn't the whole story. Not even close. While the token's price was getting crushed, the protocol itself was putting in work. Enso has reportedly facilitated over $17 billion with a B dollars in on-chain volume for partners like Berachain. This suggests that despite what the market thinks of the price, developers are actually using the technology. And in the long run, that might be the only metric that really matters.
So all of this brings us to the big picture, right? Enso has this really compelling vision, and it's got some seriously impressive early adoption numbers. But at the same time, it's facing some major hurdles and a lot of unanswered questions. So let's break down the bull case versus the bear case for its future.
Okay, so the argument for Enso, the bull case is pretty straightforward. It solves a massive pain point for developers, it has that top-tier backing, and it really could become a fundamental piece of Web3 infrastructure. The flip side, though, the bear case is just as strong. When you try to make something too simple on the surface, you can sometimes just hide problems deep down, creating new bugs. Its success also depends entirely on getting tons of developers to actually use it. And of course, like any cross-chain project, it's dealing with crazy market volatility and a very uncertain regulatory future.
So, what about the ENSO token itself? Where does it fit into all this? Well, it's really designed to be the lifeblood of the whole system. Its purpose is split three ways. It's used as gas to pay for transactions, it gives holders a vote in how the protocol is run, and it's used for staking by the validators who secure the network. So it's a pretty classic feedback loop. More use of the protocol means more demand for the token to make it all run. And that leaves us with the million-dollar question, doesn't it? Enso offers this powerful, really elegant vision for what a multi-chain future could look like. The tech is real, it's live, and it's showing signs of actual use. But the road from a clever idea to essential infrastructure is incredibly long and full of challenges. Ultimately, it all comes down to the builders. Will they see Enso's universal translator as a nice-to-have or as an absolutely essential tool they can't live without? Only time will tell.